Good morning, everyone. I'm Leah Dixon from Port Coquitlam, British Columbia, and I am live here on Wednesday morning. You can find me here most Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m., and I will usually be showing a card. Sometimes I do 3D projects, and I always use Stampin' Up! Product because I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canada. So today we are going to actually be working on a card, and while I'm creating it, I've also got a ton of news to share with you from Stampin' Up! It's a new month and there is a ton going on in the world of Stampin' Up! So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see your comments today or not. I had a week off last week due to illness, and when I came back, Facebook has changed everything. Oh, and I do see a comment coming up. Hi, Danielle. Awesome. So you'll have to excuse me while I get used to this very new, very different setup that we have going on here today. So I'm going to switch you over to my desktop. And these are the two stamp sets that I'm going to be using for today's card. I am featuring the Sunny Sentiments all week, and what you're going to notice is that I'm pairing it up with a lot of different stamp sets, because the cool thing about this is it's only sentiments. And so you can pair it up with whatever interests you. I've actually had my eye on pairing it up with the Nothing's Better Than, and putting it with like some cocktails and chocolates and stuff like that. But today I am working with a really cool Just Jade card base. Well, not card base, but ink colors. And we're going to use the Mountain Air and create a nice kind of gender neutral kind of card. All right, so I'm going to move these out of the way and get started with our card creation. So what I have to start with is a bunch of layers here. Let me just grab these. All right, so I have a thick basic white card base, and so this is just your standard 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And so that's just my card base. Then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of Just Jade to put on there. And before we do any of that, I've got a piece of 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 piece of basic white that I'm going to do all of my stamping on before we put this card together. So I'm going to grab that piece. I'm going to get, I've just got my Stampin' Pierce mat here to work on, and so this gives me kind of a spongy surface to do my stamping on. And then because the stamp I'm using is actually going to go off the edges of my cardstock, I also just have a piece of scrap paper to put on here to protect my surface. All right. So I am going to start with the gorgeous mountains. Mine are all pink because I've stamped them in like Blackberry Bliss and all sorts of crazy colors. So the staining on the stamp doesn't actually affect how it stamps though. And I'm going to ink this one up with some smoky slate. So I just want to make sure that the whole thing gets covered. And then just slightly down from the top, I am going to stamp my mountains. And there you go. It's that easy. Voila, we have created a mountain range. Hi, Tracy. Oh, thank you so much. I am feeling so much better, and so are the kids. That flu just like killed us. So we were actually wondering if it might have been like Norwalk or something, because it was the worst flu I have ever experienced. And, you know, we all went and got our COVID tests and it all came back negative. So that, which surprised me, because it was the worst. All right, so now I've got these gorgeous trees and I've just inked them up in Just Jade, and I'm coming right in, like up into the mountain area, and I'm going to stamp that right over top. The smoky slate is lighter than our Just Jade, and so it just creates that perfect little layer of trees right in front. And so that was just Jade, just stamped straight over top of our mountains. Now I'm going to set this piece to the side. Oh, you had it too, Danielle. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was awful. All right, so I've just put that off to the side. Now I had a piece of scrap paper. I'm going to bring in just a scrap paper here. Clean it up a bit. It's got dust on it. And I'm going to stamp two of the trees from this set, except I'm going to do them a little bit differently. I'm going to bring in a second green. I'm going to bring in our soft succulent, and I'm actually going to ink my trees up in soft succulent. Oh, and then take the ink off my fingers. That was lovely. And then I'm going to grab a sponge dauber and dip it into my Just Jade. Now, normally when I do this, I kind of stick just to the outside edges, but today I just kind of randomly daubed it on anywhere, just so I get two shades of green happening. Oh, now that didn't really make a big difference, so I'm actually going to flip this over and give that another go, because I wonder if my ink pad is too juicy. You know what? It looks like it is. My soft succulent looks extremely juicy. So I am going to grab my bone folder. These stamps have a lot of definition to them if you don't ink them up too much. And I really want to get that definition on my stamp. So I'm going to use my bone folder to move the ink off to the edge of my stamp pad. And let's just grab a tissue there to wipe that off. And now with that ink moved off to the side, I should be able to get a nicer inking. There we go. And then when I come in here with the Just Jade and add in some Just Jade, it's going to actually make a difference. Let's hope. Oh, much better. So we actually have like some definition in those trees. I've got ink all over my fingers. Oh my goodness. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the single tree. And again, just grab the Just Jade. And come on in, and I'm just going to flip that around so these both go through nicely. There we go. All right, so what I did is I actually just, oh, I did the wrong side. Okay, I'm going to grab a whole other piece because I really wanted some shading on what should be the right side of my tree, which means when I'm inking it, I got to ink the left side. Sorry, guys. So I've inked up my stamp with soft succulent. Now I'm tapping on Just Jade along what's my left side right now, but when I stamp it, will be my right side. There we go. That's what I wanted. And let's redo this with my double trees. I'll figure it out. All right, and then that side and that side. There we go. All right, and again, I'm going to flip it though so that it goes through nicely. There we go. All right, so now that I've got my trees done, I can put my inks away. And I'm going to grab my baby boss and we can start cutting these little guys out. I am just going to grab my chamois though somewhere. Here it is. And I'm just going to clean up my fingers quickly because I know I have green all over the tips of them. So just like you can clean your stamps on your Simply Chamois, you can also clean your fingertips on it. There we go. All right. So I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. And, oh, good morning, Noelle. Oh, feeling so much better. Everybody in our house is. It's so nice to be up and about and in the real world again. And just in time, because November has begun and Stampin' Up has, oh, that's too wide. Stampin' Up has gone and announced a ton of crazy stuff, you guys. There is a new suite available called Eden's Garden. I'll highlight it a little bit more next week. There is a starter kit sale, you guys, starting on November 4th. So today is what, the 2nd, I think? No, today's the 3rd. So starting tomorrow, oh my gosh, you guys. Starting tomorrow, there's a starter kit sale that Stampin' Up! Just announced, and it is insane. They rarely do this, but they're actually discounting the starter kit. So for $100, you get to choose $165 worth of product, plus you get the paper pumpkin that comes in there and the catalogs to share with your friends and like all that stuff. And so it's like, this is the best time to stock up on stuff, you guys. And the other cool thing about having this starter kit promotion right now in November is that that means you're going to be a demonstrator during pre-order next month for the new January to June mini catalog. It means you get to see everything early, buy it early. It means you get a 20% discount when you do that as well. And so, like, just really, really awesome. And it also means that you get to pre-order for Celebration and pre-earn for Celebration. Because I don't know if you know, but as a demonstrator, Stampin' Up! Rewards me for my sales during Celebration, and I get bonuses on top of all the Celebration goodies. So being a demonstrator means you get to get all the perks of a customer as well as a perk of being a demonstrator. So it's pretty awesome. All right, I've got those two fabulous trees, and I'm going to set them off to the side now, and I'm going to bring in a piece of soft succulent cardstock now. So far I've just been working with Just Jade and soft succulent. And I am going to use my embossing buddy. If you don't have one of these, I've heard dryer sheets work really well, but basically I just want to get any oil or fingerprints off of there so that my stuff just sticks where I want it to stick. All right, so far I've been using the Mountain Air stamp set. Now I'm going to bring in our Sunny Sentiments, and I love these so much, and especially this birthday one. Hoping your birthday is filled with all the best things. And I love, because it's kind of generic, because the best things to different people are very different, you know. So I love that this can be, you know, flowers or chocolate or fishing time or family time or whatever the best thing is for the person you are creating for. So I just stamped that with some Versamark. And then I'm going to bring in my white embossing powder and just coat that entirely. And just double check. I'll give it a little tap, and then I'm just going to use my fingernail, but you could use a paintbrush or any kind of tiny tool. I just had a little bit of extra, so I just wiped that away before we go ahead and heat that up. All right, so I'm going to come on in here with my heat tool and do some magic. There we go. So that's all heated up and embossed now, so I can move this out of the way. Now, often I will pre-cut my shapes, but this one was going to fit so closely that I wanted to do the stamping and embossing first and then line up my die around it. So this is a circle from the Layering Circles dies, and I'm actually just going to trim up my piece of cardstock here so it fits nicely in the baby boss. And we'll bring our plates back in. So I'm using plate 3 and then 2 plate 2s. And we'll just pop that down. And so I love this because I can stamp my sentiment, put my layering circle down, and run it through. And then I know for sure that that is lined up the way I want it to be. Okay, oops, I didn't follow it through enough. There we go. All right. And now we have our sentiment on there. So I like to keep all my embossing stuff out in an open tray. If you have cats or something, maybe you want to have yours covered, but I like to keep mine all out in an open tray because I find when it's so easily accessible, I use it a lot more. And I love embossing. It just makes a card in my mind. That's soft succulent. Yes. This year's ink colors are unreal. Okay, so we're going to start attaching everything to this piece that we stamped. But the first thing I'm going to do is add a little touch of ribbon. This is a ribbon that I really don't use enough, but I love it. It's called metallic mesh ribbon. And so I'm just going to pull out enough here that it goes straight across my card and trim that off. And then to attach this to my card, I'm actually going to flip this over and put adhesive on the back of where I stamped. Now I am using Seal Plus. You could use Seal, you could use tear and tape. I do recommend using some kind of like dry adhesive, not liquid adhesive. Now I'm going to line that up so that it's filling the white space that I left at the bottom. And then I'm going to just flip the end over, kind of pull that tight and flip the other end over. So now I have that piece of mesh just fully across my card and just adding a little bit of interest and sparkle and texture. Now on the back, I'm going to go ahead and use some liquid glue. Jacqueline, the mountains were done in smoky slate. It's my favorite gray. It can be dark enough if you use it directly like I did on this card, and it can be light enough if you stamp it off. So, all right, so I've put my adhesive on the back there because I don't want this to stick to my card because that Seal Plus that I used is poking through the mesh, and so the back is still sticky. So I want to get this directly down onto my Just Jade layer. And then I can put this Just Jade layer directly onto my basic white, my thick basic white card base. I always use thick when I do it for a card base, just to give the card a little bit more oomph and structure. All right. And so these were all pre-cut to layer up very nicely. And then with the liquid glue, I can also just finick with them until they're right. Okay, so that is all glued together, and now the rest of our card is going to go together with mini glue dots and dimensionals. So I'm going to start with my sentiment, and I'm going to put 3 dimensionals on the back of this, and I'm going to adhere it to the far right hand side of my card, just down at the bottom. It feels awful because I'm going to be covering up a lot of this beautiful silver, but I just want a little bit of it peeking through. And there we go. So that's going down there. Then I'm going to take my double trees and I'm going to put mini glue dots on the back of them. All right. So while I'm doing that, I'll let you guys know about some other stuff that's going on with Stampin' Up. So I told you about the Eden's Garden, and I'll show you guys some sneak peeks of that soon. And then we have our starter kit sale that's going on. And then with myself and Stampin' Up stuff, I have a Peaceful Deer class coming up. And it's kind of a cool one because lots of people did, even I did, I think, a Peaceful Deer class when we had the Peaceful Prints paper. But now I'm doing another one that's focusing on those peaceful deer without that paper. And so different color schemes, and it's just really a beautiful, beautiful class. All right, now this tree I'm going to put down right there. So when I put my adhesive on the back, I'm going to make sure to just put a mini glue dot in this one corner and up at the top so that I don't have any, or sorry, not glue dots, dimensionals. So I don't have any dimensionals going on here. Now, if I felt, and actually maybe I do, like I wanted this to really stick, I'll go ahead and put a mini glue dot in the other corner so that it has something to grab onto my circle with. And I'm going to find the best placement for that it's over top of the circle and over top of my other trees. There we go. All right, we are just about done. Now, I said I was finished stamping, but I actually realized I'm not. I am going to need my soft succulent back, and I'm going to add some birds to the sky. So we have these itty bitty birds in this stamp set. The little ones that, you know, we used to draw when we were kids. And I am going to stamp them off, though. I'm going to ink them up with soft succulent, stamp it. Oh, actually, because I pulled so much out of there, I don't even need to stamp them off. So I'm just going to come in here and stamp those up at the top. All right, just like that. Maybe one more over on this side. It feels a little empty. There we go. And then I'm going to add some in color jewels to this because I do absolutely love this year's in colors. So I'm going to grab some soft succulent out of that in colors pack. So these get sold in packs where you get all 5 in colors on one sheet. And then I am just going to throw on some soft succulent ones here. And I'm just going to kind of fill in some of these spaces that I left a little blank. There we go. And that is our finished card. So I hope you guys like that and see how awesome these sentiments can be. You can really pair these up with anything. And so grab your favorite image stamp set and have some fun matching these up. All right. So that brings me to the last thing I wanted to share with you guys, and that is one other class. Well, it's not even really a class that I'm offering. It's actually a full-on club. It's 6 months, December to May, and it's a birthday card club. I'm kind of running low on my birthday cards, and so thought, well, what a better way to get a stash going again than to start a club and stamp every month with some friends. So it's $45 a month flat fee. You'll get about $30 worth of product plus your make and takes, and it will be 3 designs, but 2 each of the 3 designs. So you'll end up with 6 cards each month for $45. And so in the description of this video, I put a link to that so you can read all the details and kind of let that sink in. And then if you want to let me know, I do have a deadline, I think of November 7th or 8th, just because I'll need to order supplies and everything and get it all out to you guys before our first meeting. And we will meet on the first Friday of each month at 7 p.m. via Zoom. So you can be anywhere in Canada to attend this club. So this is the kind of thing we'll create. Often it'll be something very generic so that if you don't have, like, I wouldn't use the Mountain Air stamp set probably, but something more generic so that if you don't have the whiskey bottle that I'm using, you can sub in, you know, the flower or the dog or whatever. But we will have a featured stamp set for the sentiments each month. And I'll let you know in advance what that is so you can add it onto your order, or if you've already got it or if you've got something close enough, then you can do that. So that's kind of how that birthday club's going to work. So many great things happening in the Stampin' Up! World, and I'm so happy to be well and back and stamping. And one last kind of exciting piece of news, a little bragging point for me, but also some great inspiration for you guys, is I was selected to be a new design team member on Hand Stamped Sentiments. It's a challenge blog. And so you guys can check that out. It's Hand Stamped Sentiments, 3 words. And, you know, I hope that you guys look at our inspiration and submit some cards of your own into our challenge. So yeah, check that out. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you guys all have a fabulous day. Contact me if you have any questions. And if you did not receive my newsletter, contact me to sign up, or you can use the link on my Facebook page to sign up. There's also a link on my blog, stampinwithleah.ca, so that you're always in the know, because there's a bunch of other stuff. There's like some special paper pumpkin kit that's like a deal and a half. It's 3 kits for $36, and like there's just so much happening right now that I can't even go into all of it in this video, but it's all in my newsletter. So yeah, check that out. And yeah. Oh, thank you, Noelle. Thank you, Tracy. It was pretty exciting. Thanks, Jacqueline. Yes, HSS. I've used their challenges a lot, like, and participated as just in their contest. And so when they put the call out for a design team member, I thought, well, if I'm making these cards every month anyways, or every 2 weeks, I might as well see if I can be a design team member. So yeah, that was awesome. Okay, guys, have a great day. Bye.